Welcome back, friends, and this is another stream with TitanSlyr, and pre-patch is live. So here we go, the stat squish is now in effect. All of your level 120 characters will now be at level 50. Changes to spells, talents, I believe, will also be in effect from now also. Talents have been reset, as we can see popping up there now. So new talents, new character customization, the leveling revamp, so there's a chance I might even look at potentially starting a new character now. And then Death Rising, explore your updated class abilities and prepare for the coming darkness. We did also get the new splash screen, which was really nice, so we get to see Shadowlands now and get rid of the old Battle for Azeroth screen. I have jumped back onto TitanSlyr, moved away from Ogre-Slayer, the Druid, just for this purpose. I'm not sure why the Postmaster believes I need those grey braces, but hey ho. So we are going to jump right in now to having a look at the new talents for Warrior. I have already checked these out on beta. If you haven't seen that video already, it is on the channel, which is under the title of We Finally Got Beta. But yeah, so here are the talents for Warrior now. From what I understand or remember, there wasn't a huge amount of change, to be honest. But that is one of the biggest things. Now this is going to be a very busy location now that pre-patch has gone live, is the target dummies in Orgrimmar. It was always a busy location in the beta, and it's going to be a busy location now because a lot of these people won't have used pre-patch, they won't have had beta access, so this is the first time that they are going to get to test these new abilities out. So what we will do is we'll have a quick check on the quests, because I don't know if it's has it given any new quests now with regards to, don't know if it will have. No, so it doesn't look like we've got any new quests yet. So in terms of the actual content that has become available as a result of pre-patch coming live, it does look like it is just the talent changes. Now it was something that I was expecting, because from what I remembered in terms of the pre-patch, it's actually technically going to be split into two parts. So there's going to be the initial part here, which is the change to talents, and then finally we will then have the revamp, which is going to include the plague event, whereby you'll be able to turn into an undead, and then that'll also give us the sort of pre-quests to go into Shadowlands. One of the new features that has been put, you'll note that you won't see it because my face is currently covered right now, but there is what's called map pin locations. So a player can put a map, like a pin on the map, you can see it here. So you can place a pin on the map like that. You can then share that, so you can share that either in chat, so that you can do it in trade, general, party chat, whatever. So if it's a case of you want somebody to go somewhere or look at something in a particular place, or you know, you might find a rare spawn somewhere and the person's not sure where it is, they might not have coordinates built into one of their add-ons, so you can just give them the coordinates. Instead, all you need to do is just simply put a pin on the map, and then they'll be able to follow that, which is really, really nice. A nice little extra bit that Blizzard have put in on that one. So in terms of talents, from what I understand, warrior-wise, in terms of the top level, sudden death I don't think was on the top level previously. I'm fairly certain that was somewhere a bit further down here. War Machine's always been on the top. I think double time has been on this line. Massacre, Frenzy, on so there's been changes. Obviously I can't remember off the top of my head which ones were where, but I definitely don't think sudden death was on the top line previously, so that has changed quite a bit. So that is Warrior, just very briefly having a look at that. The next one that we're going to have a look at is Druid. I'm just going to bounce over to Druid because this is who I've been playing mainly. So if you watched the stream or the video from yesterday, there was quite a few people did watch that video, so thank you very much for that. And we've got a new subscriber to the channel, which is great, on the push for 10 subscribers that we're currently on right now. So I was doing PvP on my Druid yesterday, trying to get used to PvP as a Resto Druid. So these changes coming in was something that I was definitely excited about and looking forward to see how that would affect it. Now, one of the biggest changes is, well, it's actually quite a few changes for Resto Druid. So one of the biggest ones that I mentioned previously was Nourish has now no longer a PvP talent. So Nourish is now something that you can choose on the top line should you choose to want to do that. Also, you'll notice what I do see as a bit of a nerf, not so much in PvP because I don't use it in PvP, but in terms of PvE, Cyclone is no longer, or is it Typhoon? One of the two, the one that pushes people back anyway, that is no longer available as a talent to choose, so we do not get that option any longer. However, in terms of it, there's been a couple of buffs that do come through to Druid. So Druid has now got Iron Fur as a standard. So normally you'd have to choose Guardian Affinity to get Iron Fur. You don't need that now. That's been swapped out with Frenzied Regeneration. So ultimately you do have the option to have a bit of extra armor whenever you're in PvP, for example, and trying to survive a bit of extra hits. In terms of it, I don't think there's been many other major changes. One of the big ones is that Cyclone also no longer a PvP talent, which is very handy because Cyclone being a PvP talent was quite restrictive, so the fact that that's no longer the case is really nice. Stampeding Raw is now baseline for Druids also, so some really nice changes coming in. We've got some spells now that actually have ranks that need to be unlocked, so we've got Regrowth and Entangling Roots, both need to be unlocked by leveling up, which obviously we can't do right now, but hopefully we can do moving forwards, not too distant future. Obviously there's still no word yet when Shadowlands will actually be released, so hopefully not too long. Now, in terms of PvP, just a little update for you guys. So it's most likely going to have been reset now, but as you'll see, I managed to finish on 1621. So within like a day or two, well, not even that really, it was only probably about 2 or 3 hours worth of actually, well, maybe not 2, but about 3-4 hours worth of playing PvP. We actually managed to get to 1621 arena rating, which I was pretty happy with, to be honest with you. You know, first time playing Resto Druid, and ultimately, you know, I haven't played PvP that much full stop. So I was pretty happy to get the few bits of the elite gear unlocked that I could. Sadly, didn't manage to quite get the push to the 1800 rating. I think I could have done it, to be honest. I think I could have got there in terms of like skill level, but it was just a case of the time. I didn't have the time to do it, sadly. I should have started that a little bit sooner. So we have got a chest to open here, and we've got the PvP one. The gear's not that important. I mean, ultimately, you know, as things go right now, the patches, or the expansion's coming to an end, so it's really not going to make a difference in terms of the gear that we get. But I figured, why not? I might as well open them up, have a look. So in terms of the reward that I got there, I got a Mythic 6 trinket. So I was just about to say what the hell's going on with the item level of that, but then I've remembered it's stat squish, so obviously the item levels of everything looks really funky. So what is my actual item level? I was 450, so I'm now item level 104, so that feels sick to see, item level 104. I mean, look at that. So the intellect is plus 26 on the trinket. That was previously like 560, something like that. So to see that down at 26, it's such a change. I mean, I do like stat squishes. I think they just bring everything nicely and put everything a bit more in line, but it also feels very weird to see. So we'll unlock the PvP box as well. So this would have been a 460 piece of gear. Obviously we got a crappy trinket there, but that's gone from a 460 to 115 piece. So really big changes there, very strange to see, but also very nice to see. Now in terms of that trinket, to be honest with you, it could be quite good, because if I'm doing PvP, one thing that I haven't got a lot of is versatility, which can be very handy, especially as a healer. So I'd have to have a look at that. My bags are full of rubbish at the moment, which now that the expansion's come to an end, I'm really just going to probably just get rid of it all, just clear it all out, because I don't think any of it's actually particularly necessarily useful. So I figured in the stream today what we can do is go through the talents a little bit, choose and you know, sort of get them all put together, and then maybe just look at doing some more PvP, some more arena, just to sort of see how we go really. So I don't think there's going to be a huge change in terms of what I choose now. Abundance isn't going to be something that I am interested in choosing for PvP. For each rejuvenation you have active, the regrowth cost is reduced by 6% and crit chance. I mean, it's okay, it's not bad, but I just don't think it's going to be good enough. However, saying that, the options of Cenarian Ward and Nourish also don't feel like great, so I'm not 100% certain on that. We'll have to be pretty careful as well, because there's quite a few classes out there that, you know, the changes that have come in, things like Subtlety Rogue and stuff like that, I imagine they're going to be quite powerful in PvP, so we'll have to have a look and see what happens in terms of, you know, what changes have made difference-wise when it comes to combat and PvP. But what we'll do is we'll just quickly go through. So I'm still going to choose Wild Charge for my second slot because I think Wild Charge has a lot of good utility in this spec. In terms of Feral Affinity, I'm definitely going to choose that one still. I'm fairly certain that the energy regeneration was 45% increase before, it's now showing as 35, so that is a little bit lower. Guardian Affinity still a 6% reduction and still the increased range on spells. You can see there actually Typhoon is now something you get if you choose Balance Affinity, so as I was mentioning, Typhoon is no longer available to choose, but that is now available, but only through Balance Affinity. I'm still going to choose Mighty Bash on this line here. I feel like the stun is really handy, especially in 2s. In terms of the second line, Soul of the Forest was always something that I feel was very handy. Cultivation, too risky, you know, it's not something that you can rely on enough in PvP, and Tree of Life is good, but again, I also just feel like personally Soul of the Forest is probably the better one. Next line here, I don't think this is, no, this has changed, so there's not really many sort of spells on this line that I'm that enamored with. I feel like Overgrowth is probably going to be the best one out of the 3. Just purely because reducing the cooldown of Tranquility, or in PvP Tranquility doesn't really see much use, and then Efflorescence is okay, but again, in PvP wise when everyone's moving around, I just don't see, you know, much use for that one. So I'll probably have to choose Overgrowth, which means a spell I'm going to have to get used to using, and I'm going to have to mix that into Voodoo, which it doesn't look like I've now got, so that's something that we're going to have to sort out. And then the final line, I still believe that for PvP purposes, Germination would be the best. Photosynthesis tends to be the best one for PvE from what I've seen, so we'll go with Germination there. In terms of the top line, I'm still really not sure which one to go with. I'm not too keen on the idea of having another spell to try and catch, especially with a 1.7 second cast time, but ultimately I think for the time being I'm just going to go with Abundance just to sort of get us started really more than anything else. Now in terms of it, it doesn't look like, let's say my add-ons are working because of the new patch that has come out, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to use that here. It's definitely still selected as active, so the fact that it's not showing there would indicate that the it's out of date. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly turn this off here, and then we'll have a look at just quickly grabbing the add-on. It shouldn't take me too long to do so, and then once we've done that we can then jump into doing some PvP and having a look at that. Hopefully the add-on has been updated to allow us to just jump straight back into this one, but I'm not quite sure how quickly they are, or how quick they are I should say, at getting that done. So it is a little bit disappointing in the sense that there isn't anything extra in the pre-patch today, so ultimately, you know, as things are, it's just a new change to talents and spells which I've already seen because of having access to the beta, so it's a little bit disappointing that that's the only real change that has come in today. But ultimately, for a lot of people, they won't have seen those changes, and therefore it'll be something new, something to play around with. It's a good opportunity to try out the different specs and different classes, just to see, you know, sort of how they've been affected, what you like the feel of, and if that's going to potentially have some form of impact on what you choose to main moving forwards there. I am just trying to have a look now just to see if I can get the to get this add-on downloaded pretty sharpish, just so that we can jump in and do some PvP. But I don't think from the looks of it that they have it doesn't look like they've updated it yet, so we may not potentially be doing that, or we could, but it's going to be a bit more difficult because I won't be used to it. Right, let's have a look. Okay, no, it has been updated, so I'm just going to quickly grab that. We'll get that installed, and then we should be good to go. and I'll get the screen showing pretty pronto, because I appreciate looking at a black screen and just looking at me isn't the most entertaining thing in the world. So I'm just going to get rid of the current Voodoo add-on that I have right now, and then I'll pop the new one on. I will update all my add-ons next time I do a stream in advance, just to make sure that this doesn't happen again. This was very much sort of off the cuff, so apologies for any inconvenience with people, you know, coming on the stream now and seeing a black screen. I know that's not ideal. Right. Okay, we're going back in now. So I've now got the add-on downloaded. So we should hopefully be able to just dive straight back in. Yep, there we go. See if it's kept my... So the good news is as well that it has kept the spells as I've put them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load up the PvP. So yeah, 1621 was the final that we received at the end of the last season, which, considering, like I say, we only did it for a couple of hours, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to start a group for arenas, just put on there, new player, PvP practice, not new player, new to heal, practice, games. So I'm just going to list the group there. I just want something nice and chilled out. I don't want anybody who's going to be, you know, desperate to try and get really good wins or anything like that. I imagine it might be a little bit easier PvP at the moment, because a lot, well actually, I was going to say it'll be easier because a lot of people won't be pushing for rating now, whereas it was getting a little bit tougher last night towards the higher end, because I think everyone was trying to rush to squeeze in before the season finished last night. But at the same time, a lot of the good players and you know, have got the new talents now, so they're all going to be trying it out. So they might find that it's actually potentially difficult as well. So we've got, I was just about to say no to a rogue who was like level 113, because I was thinking, well, why would I want 113? But that's, yeah. That's because I'm just being stupid. So we've got a little pal here now. So I'm just going to get us in just for some fun more than anything. And just to see how it goes. He'll most likely be subtlety, I would imagine, because I think most rogues are going to choose subtlety based on the changes that have come in. We'll find out in just a moment if that is the case. Let's have a look here. So, I know he's actually assassination, so I'm surprised by that. I did think that he would have been subtlety. So I did get a couple of add-ons for my PvP now. Haven't really had chance to properly set them up yet, and naturally they've gone out of date overnight, so you will have noticed them. Actually no, because when I did the stream I didn't have them, it was only last night that I downloaded them, so you won't have actually seen them. But I got Gladius, because I believe that's pretty much a staple for PvP play. I then got Omnibar, just to sort of track you know, timers for cooldowns and things like that, and then I got one which also tracks cooldowns for my arena partner. But ultimately, like I say, they've kind of gone out of date, so it's a little bit obsolete. But I'll make sure, like I say, I get them all done. I just wanted to get a stream for pre-patch done today as quickly as I could. And I know, looking at the stream, it looks like we've got a couple of people watching now. So welcome to the stream. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch any more of my content, there's a back catalogue on the channel right now. You know, so if you do like my content and like what I provide, then please check out my other videos. I would really appreciate it. So it looks like we're going to be going in on the Warlock right now. I'm going to get ready to stun the Shaman when he comes out here, just because ultimately I knew I was going to get polyed, and I haven't set up my talents properly again, which is a really big issue. I really should have been more careful with that. So it looks like we're currently up against Resto Shaman. For some reason I thought it was an elemental shaman, I'm not quite sure why. So this is a tough one. The Warlock is definitely hitting hard. He's going all in right now with the Chaos Bolts. So I'm just going to take the Warlock out of the equation for a moment there. And then I'll keep him out of the equation right now. Hopefully we can get the shaman down, but it doesn't look to appear to be the case. Just gonna take those debuffs off the road. Keep the warlock nearby. He's gonna chaos bolt me, but it won't finish me off, so that's okay. I don't mind that too much, I can deal with that. And then hopefully we can both get back into stealth, that would be really handy. So both back into stealth, and now let's see how well we can do here. So I'm going to try and, if I can, hopefully get a stun off on the warlock, just to stop him from doing too much damage. So one of the biggest mistakes I've made is that I haven't chosen my PvP talent, which is really bad. That was a big mess up by me. So I'm just going to try my best here without a PvP talent. Really not a good idea to try and do this normally, but we make do with what we've got. Which isn't a lot. Don't seem to be doing too well here. I think we're struggling to sort of get either of them down to a reasonable amount of health. Just going to stun the warlock there just to try and get some form of... Right, that was quite handy, the fact that I think they kind of messed up a little bit there. So nearly got the shaman there. The rogue's just going to move around, keep out of sight. So like I say, it's not going too well, mainly my own fault because I forgot to select the new PvP talent before coming in here. And ultimately they are really, Destruction Warlock is still a very powerful choice by the looks of things. Just going to try and line of sight as much as I can here. Just going to, right, so he's nature locked me now, which was kind of what I was hoping for, because it means that I can get the Cyclone off. He needs to go, I would like him to go for the Resto Shaman really, just because I feel like at the moment this isn't gonna, we're not gonna go anywhere on the Warlock. Warlocks have so much HP, like such a high health pool. I just don't feel like it's gonna go anywhere if we keep trying that. But again, I am still very new to PvP, so I could be wrong, could be right, I don't know. So I'm definitely going to run out of mana. Well, I mean, the Shaman's not even running out of mana, so this is definitely not going to go the way that we had intended by any stretch of the imagination. I might just have to stop healing this one. It's not going to go the way we'd hoped by any stretch of the imagination. I'm pretty much out of mana. We don't seem to have the stuff we need to be able to finish either of these two guys off. I'll get a Cyclone off here, but I won't. I'll try again.
I am out of range.
So still no Cyclone. So I definitely think we'd be better off here going for the Shaman. This just doesn't seem to be working at all, going for the Warlock. Like I say, they've got so much HP that it just seems so crazy to be going for this one here. Man, I'm getting chain CC'd left, right and centre. I'm just going to go for the heal. The Cyclone, sorry, because I just feel like without the Cyclone we're definitely not going to go anywhere. Yeah, that was just going nowhere. Like I say, my issue was I didn't have the PvP talent ultimately. Definitely need to make sure that I do keep that in mind. Or is it now? Oh, it might be an item now, which is going to be a bit of a problem because I haven't got that item. Yeah, it looks like it's actually an item which I haven't got, so that's a bit of a problem. That guy left, which was not surprising whatsoever to me. To be honest with you, I tried playing with a rogue last night as well, and the matches just didn't seem to go very well. I wasn't really a fan of playing with rogue. I definitely preferred, there was matches that I played with mage, but mage is obviously very strong anyway, but he was a very good player, so that was quite enjoyable. In terms of a talent then, I'm not sure, it obviously just depends ultimately on what we come up against really, but just so that we've got one in the slot, I think for the time being we'll just go with high winds, why not? So let's just quickly choose or find another person, because that obviously didn't go very well. I mean, at the end of the day, it does say practice games in the description of the match, so I'm not quite sure why some people expect that we're just going to be winning every game, but it definitely doesn't help that I don't have the trinket. So right now, in terms of PvP, it's going to be one of the main things that I am focusing on for a little while, just for a bit more fun. I mean, ultimately, I don't know when the new season starts. I know it's not going to be until Shadowlands is out, but I'm not sure how long after Shadowlands starts that the new season begins, so it'll probably be a case of focusing on PvE at the beginning, and then jumping into PvP once the season starts, because it seems a bit pointless to do it before then. Excuse me. Right, looks like we've got 2 people. One of them is a hunter. We'll give that a try. He's item level 127, which is very high, so hopefully this could make it a little bit easier. The rating still changes, which surprises me, because ultimately you can't do anything with the higher rating now, so it surprises me that that changes still, but hey ho. So let's have a try. We've got Hunter as our new partner. Let's see if this goes any better. First match is Resto Shaman and Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest is one of the ones that, no sorry, Resto Shaman is one of the ones that I don't like, very similarly to Mistweaver Monk, just because they have quite a lot of utility in terms of like Hex, Capacitor Totem, things like that. Obviously I still don't really know all of the skills that other classes have, which is another key part from what I understand of, you know, success in PvP. So hopefully I can get a little bit more used to what options are available out there. He wants to know who to go for. Oh, he doesn't. You can't actually see. So I'll just let him know what we're up against there. See what he wants to go for. He's got the PvP mount, which is really nice. It's one of the things that I would really like. Okay, this is not going well. Wow. Okay, so it looks like Frost Death Knights can do some crazy damage. I just got absolutely wiped out there, which was really bad. So let's just try that again. That really didn't go very well. I have the horrible feeling this guy is going to have like a really high rating that I'm currently with right now. So in terms of the people that we're going to be coming up against, it's going to be very difficult. But we will see. So ultimately, not the best, but this is why it's just practice games, just trying to get used to it and, you know, see what we can do. I did buy a new set, so I've been collecting the marks of honour that I was getting from PvP matches that I was playing last night, so I did get a new set which I was looking forward to wearing, but I haven't yet put it on, So I'm going to quickly chuck that on now. Don't want the cloak on it though, because the cloak looks silly, and I probably won't wear a helm either. There might be another helm that I've got that looks quite good with the set, but I don't think the one that I'm currently wearing does. And then in terms of a weapon, let's have a look. What should we go with? The corrupted one's okay, but again, doesn't really quite match. Oh yeah, they've put the, we'll discuss the transmog changes very shortly as well. Abracadabra, just for the time being, just because it's, we've got a match ready. So I'll jump into this one, and then we'll have a little chat about the transmog situation. So this time it's showing as a Fire Mage and Shadow Priest, but whether or not that's what we've actually got, who knows. So I've just told him what we've got, but ultimately after the last one I don't know whether I can trust it, to be honest with you. It's actually a Disc Priest. Right, let's see if we can have a little bit of better luck this time. So he wants to stun the Disc Priest and go for the Mage. My goodness, that burst is just ridiculous. So I just got instantly wrecked there by Fire Mage. I mean, this is just crazy. Like, that's 2 games. Okay, he's left the party. I mean, I'm not surprised. People just do not want to be in a group with me because I'm clearly having a really bad time trying to play right now. That was just, I mean, that to me just seemed pretty ridiculous, to be honest. That guy did 35,000 damage to me in the space of, what, like 3 seconds? Let's see, how much did he hit for? So bear in mind I've got 16,000 HP. So we got hit for Fire Blast for 1,300. We then got hit with another Fire Blast for another 1,300, then Parablast for 2.5k. All this time I'm burning as well, so I'm just taking tick damage during that time also. Another 1,400, another 2.5k, another 2.5, another 1.3. So it was just like a ridiculous amount of damage, bang, 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 bang. Really not very good. I do think that because of the sort of person that I was in with, it was definitely some harder matches coming up there because they clearly seem to be a higher rank than me. But that's, you know, that seemed really, really tough. I mean, I could not survive that fight whatsoever. Again, it might be that it's just down to my problem. I might need to just keep out of the way, which is probably true, a lot better, and let, you know, my partner take the damage and then CC from a distance maybe. It's just all part of the learning curve, because like I say, this little series that I'm doing right now is mainly about what it's like to be a new player. Excuse me, what it's like to be a new player in PvP. So hopefully this guy can actually see the enemies that we come up against and knows what we're fighting. He's an Affliction Warlock, which from what I understand they've received quite a bit of a boost coming into PvP. Sorry, just in general actually they've received a bit of a boost. So this is something that I was mentioning before. I thought it was going to be a bit easier because the season's finished, but I actually do think it's a bit harder. You'll notice that a lot of the people coming in here have very high gear, very good, whereas mine's obviously not very good gear. So I think that's one of the things that I am sort of struggling with a little bit. Also I've got my new talent there, which isn't in my voodoo yet, so I'm not making any you know, use of that. So definitely a lot that could be changed, but ultimately that's just all part and parcel of the process that we are currently in. So I'm just going to quickly get some pre-hots up on my friend here, and then I'm going to dive into stealth, just try and keep out the way a little bit. I knew that the flare would come down around the area because ultimately they do want to try and catch me out where they can. And then once again, the lack of, yeah, I mean, I definitely think that PvP is just going to be a no-go for me at this point. It just seems so crazy. You know, people just literally die instantly like that. And then the person's left. It just doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you, that people are just leaving instantly because, one, I'm still not very good at PvP and I'm getting put in, or people who are joining are clearly people who are, you know, wanting to try and win a lot of games, but it definitely seems to me like at the moment this the PvP damage just seems to be insane and way off balance. Now it could just be because people's gear isn't high enough in terms of, you know, gear score, so the damage is just way outstripping the HP, but I'm not sure because I did find that when I tried PvP a little bit when I was playing the Battle for Azeroth beta, not Battle for Azeroth beta, the Shadowlands beta, that I did also find that PvP seemed to just be like this really fast, quick burst, and then, you know, you were just dead. You just could not survive it. So I'm a little bit unsure on how that's going to go. It doesn't seem to be going pretty well at the moment, but I'm not going to give up on it just yet. We'll keep trying and you know, see what we can come up with. But it's definitely not going to be a smooth ride by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think. But we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. So we've got a warrior in with us this time. See what he can come up with. Mage, I mean, mage and rogue is always going to be a tough combination to come up against. So I don't see us doing too well here, but we'll have a look in and see how that goes. And then we'll do probably a couple more matches depending on how well this goes, and then I'll do a little chat about some of the final changes, because like I say, we've got the new customize options and we've also got the new transmog changes. Nothing major, but just a couple of little bits I want to touch on with regards to pre-patch. And then finally the leveling revamp, so I'm just curious to see how that might work as well. But yeah, let's fingers crossed hope that this game can go a little bit smoother than the last one did, because that last match definitely didn't seem to go very well at all. The people I've been playing with, I mean, ultimately, like I say, I am putting in there that I'm a new healer and that these are just practice matches, but ultimately, you know, people are leaving straight away, so I don't think many people are very happy to lose matches. So I'm just going to keep away from that, because if I get caught out by that, it's not going to end well for me. Yeah, one thing that really doesn't help is the absolute lack of... yeah, look at that. I mean, it's just like instant. You literally can't survive the damage that's being put on you. So I think PvP is just going to be a little bit broken for the time being. I don't think there's any point in me coming in here at all, because ultimately I'm just not going to be able to do any work whatsoever in PvP here. People are just going to come straight for me, and then I'm just going to get nuked down in an instant. I definitely don't think it's going to be worth it for me to try that. Yeah, he's just saying that I need the trinket, which I know. Sadly, I haven't been able to get it. He's saying go Guardian Affinity, but which probably is, I suppose, a better option in this situation here. Purely on the basis that, you know, ultimately I'm not really going to get much of an opportunity to actually try and do much damage, so it's probably best that I do just take as little damage as I possibly can. I don't know. Saying also go renewal if I need to. Yeah, I mean, I suppose because I can kite anywhere with changes, renewal probably is the better of the two options. We'll give it a go, we'll try it out. See if this goes any smoother. Ultimately, it might not, it might, but we can only try it. I mean, this guy's probably going to be a much better player than me, so it's worth me taking any advice that I can get from another player, especially when I am very new to PvP still. Definitely was going a lot better when I was playing last night, and I was, you know, getting some decent wins on the bounce and things like that, but ultimately, you know, this is still new for me. It's practice. It's definitely practice. So he wants me to go high winds and deep roots. So I've got high winds, I've got deep roots. If you can chance those, go for it. I don't know if he means change or if he does mean chance, I'm really not sure, but we'll see. Okay, so I've now been stunned. For whatever reason, I'm not getting the option to... don't seem to be getting the option to use... Yeah, I'm just gonna leave because I'm just making a bit of a fool of myself now. I have no idea what I'm doing in PvP against high level people like that. They are clearly a much higher caliber than I am. In terms of it though, he's just asking why I'm leave, but ultimately I'm just a bit embarrassed, if I'm totally honest. It's not going very well. For whatever reason, Swiftmend doesn't seem to be working. Consumes a regrowth or a but it's not giving me... Now it gives me the option. I'll try and invite him back, see if he wants to rejoin. Yeah, he's rejoined. Just gonna let him know why I left. So we'll just try it again, see what happens. I have no reason not to be honest. I was embarrassed about the skills that I've got there. Thorns would be a good one. It's a PvP talent. He's just asking me some general questions about what's PvP talents now and things like that. So versus melee, choose Thorns, so that's okay, so we can try that. I definitely just need to get more confident in terms of using like bear form and things like that when people are attacking me. I'm gonna set this guy as my focus just to give me a little bit of an easier time in terms of selecting him. So we've got Thorns this time. I need to make sure that I have that on my toolbar to actually use it, because that's definitely going to help. Right, let's try and calm down. Let's see if we can do a little bit better. It's always the extra pressure when you're streaming, of course, and people are watching, and I know I'm not doing very well. But it is meant to just be a case of learning, so we'll see how this goes, see if it goes any better, of course. We're against Demon Hunters, so naturally they're going to see through my stealth, which isn't ideal. I am going to push up top just to try and keep out of the way a little bit if I can. So I'll put Thorns on him now. I'm going to stun the Demon Hunter, and I'm going to use these just to get away, just to give myself that extra little bit of distance. So I have been stunned, which isn't ideal. Okay, he did manage to kill the paladin there, but he's got such low HP that there's absolutely no chance of him killing the demon hunter. Demon hunters can just seem to stick to me so well. Again though, I haven't used Overgrowth, which is one of my main skills. I'm not using Life Bloom for whatever reason. It's like everything that I practiced for has just gone out of the window all of a sudden. I do not know why, because I was playing a lot better than this yesterday. So I'm not sure why I've suddenly, just gone into this world. I mean, it definitely doesn't help that I don't have Trinket. That's definitely not helping me in any shape or form. I imagine this guy will probably leave very shortly, because although he was saying that I need to stay to practice, he'll probably get sick of losing himself. So I imagine he'll probably leave pretty quickly. But ultimately, it comes down to it. I'll maybe do. Apparently, he's going on to his Warlock. He wants to practice on his Warlock, so that's pretty much fair. If he wants to practice on his Warlock, I'm okay with that. Both just practicing together. Bit less pressure on me as well to perform well, because ultimately I am struggling with PvP following these changes. So I'm pretty happy for him to shift over and try something a little bit different. It is, like I say, just something that I'm just not used to. I think that's the main thing, and for a lot of people it would be interesting to hear what other people's experiences have been like in terms of playing PvP, because ultimately I find it very difficult to concentrate on so many different things at once compared to PvE. It's definitely not as easy, I don't think. So it'd be interesting just to hear what other people's experiences have been like if you've been trying to break into PvP and how that's worked out for you. I'm not sure. I always thought that there was like a vendor where you could buy the PvP trinket from, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Because this guy only seems to sell I can't even remember the name of them now. Azerite Powers, I guess. No, I know it's not Azerite Powers, but it's the best that I can come up with. Is this the one? Gladiator Quartermaster? Oh yeah, that was easy. That was nice and quick to find. So that's something that I definitely need to buy, because ultimately that was really having an impact on my ability to survive. So I'm just going to quickly chuck that on over this spell, that trinket there, and then I'm just going to move it down onto the toolbar. I did have it over that one previously. Again, I know my talents aren't set up very well, so I think he went when he was logging onto his Warlock. I don't think he meant to play with me. I think he just wanted to practice that by himself, which is fine. There's no pressure from me to have him play with us. So ultimately what I'll do is, because PvP hasn't gone too well there, I think it's something that I'll need to practice a little bit more off stream, just to sort of get back into the swing of it and set everything up, because like I say, this was a bit of a rush job. So in terms of my add-ons and things like that, nothing's set up properly. So I definitely need to make sure that I avoid doing that again in future whenever I do a stream. Don't rush into it. Just take your time, get set up, and then stream, because this hasn't gone to plan. The hope was that we would get, some at least better matches than what we have been able to do today. But ultimately what we'll do is I'll just quickly talk through some of the other key changes that have come in. So one of them is in terms of transmog. I'm getting lost for words there. So in terms of transmog, one of the things now is that you can actually choose. Do you know, it's probably better to actually showcase on TitanSlyr himself, because he's got the better gear to showcase this on. So if I just get rid of that, because that's going to take, this will actually be quicker to fly down in the rested zone. So basically the point that I'm trying to say is that transmog has changed. So with regards to any sort of gear that you had that was Legion artifact weapons, you can now individually transmog them. So where before, if you chose TitanSlyr axes, for example, you would have to just choose that from the Legion artifacts tab on on your transmog vendor, and then you would just naturally have that on both of your weapons. But you can now choose them individually. So to give you an example of this, if we go on to two-handed axes, and then we come across. It should be in here. It's going to make a fool of me now, and it won't be there. So it's not showing there, which is surprising because I did think, I'm sure this change was already into effect. It's definitely into effect. All right, okay. So for whatever reason, it classes them as two-handed swords. I'm not sure what's going on there, but basically, as you can see here, so you can now select your artifact weapons and artifact appearances as individual items rather than having to have them, and you can also have them cross spec as well. So Stormcraft, for example, was the arms appearance, not Fury, but I can use it as Fury now, which is really nice. So for example, you could have the two different colours of the TitanSlyr axes across your back like this, which I think makes a nice little combination, like fire and ice almost, in two different versions. So that is a really nice, cool little change that they have made in terms of the system for transmog there. It looks like there's some guy here doing a bit of multi-boxing. One of the other things that you can also do is with regards, or one of the changes, sorry, is with new characters. So here is the new customization screen. Again, we have seen this in the Shadowlands beta that I did, but I didn't really go through it. I just used it as a bit of a preamble. So for example, you can choose your classes now. Obviously, I do have some of the allied races not unlocked there, but I didn't see a point in putting the effort in to unlock them because that's going to get easier anyway when Shadowlands comes out, so I thought I might as well just wait. But it gives you a nice little preview of some gear that they could look like they have, what it looks like when they're casting spells. If you then go, so for example, if we choose a Blood Elf Priest, and then we go into customize, you can now select and click on the actual little tabs here, and it will give you the skin tones that you can choose, and you can just go through them and actually preview them in that way rather than always having to click like this like you used to back in the day. And then there's just many more customizations that you can now choose from. You've also got things, not so much with the Night Elves, or the Blood Elves, sorry, but you've actually got this one here where it gives you the option of multiple eye colours, which is very strange. So almost as if you are sort of like blind in one eye. Which is a very sort of have like a clouded eye, because I appreciate not everybody with a clouded eye is blind. But yeah, you can have like different eye colours, which is a very unique looking thing, something that's never been available in World of Warcraft previously. Certain classes as well, or certain races, sorry, like orcs for example, have options with things like jewellery. So they've got grime, which is just like a little bit of like dark shading around the face, things like that. But you've now got like nose rings, which you don't think orcs had before, and they also have the option of different tusks as well. Whereas previously the tusks were just attached to whichever face you chose. You've now got the option to actually change the tusks, but also have a different face. And then finally with orcs, you've now got the option for tattoos, so it's not just Mag'har orcs that have that option now, it's all orcs that have that availability. Different colours of war paint there, and then finally you have the posture choice of upright or to stay down. Now in terms of the customization, so you do have the option to go to the barbershop, where you can now also change the gender of your character, which used to cost money. So this is a very positive change that I can see from Blizzard. Anything that means that you no longer have to spend money where you previously would have had to, I definitely think that is a very good thing. Some of the things that Blizzard charge for, changing gender, changing names, stuff like that, I always feel is a very weak thing to do, because it's very expensive for no reason. It doesn't cost Blizzard anything really from their end to allow you to do that. But at the end of the day, it's their game. You've always got the option to create a new character if you wanted to, especially now with some of the changes that have come in. But yeah, as always, you can change your skin color, things like that. So in terms of the changes that you can make, you can now change your face. You can basically just change your character to a totally new look. Obviously, you can't change the race, but you can totally change how they look, which will make characters feel a lot fresher for a lot longer, which is really nice. And then obviously, as mentioned previously, you've got the option now to change the gender of your character as well, as you will choose. So that is a really nice effect. Now, one thing that I am going to have a quick look at, which I didn't check previously, is on druids, because you can change druid forms, or change the look of your druid forms whilst you're at the customize option now, which I totally forgot about, so I should have actually gone there with druid previously. But what I'll do is I will just quickly jump off, and we'll hearth to Dalaran, and we'll take a quick look at what that has entailed for druids now and what that change looks like and means for them. I'm definitely going to have another try at PvP. Not necessarily now, but you know, off stream I'm going to take a bit more of a look at it. I've got the trinket now, so at least that should help quite a lot. I don't know why I'm going to Orgrim, I don't need to, because not having the trinket was pretty poor on my side. I didn't realise there was a vendor there who actually sold it, so that's very helpful to have. And then ultimately I just need to get my Voodoo set up properly, get my add-ons back, because it was definitely helping a lot last night when I was playing. And also, I probably shouldn't go in with people who are such high item level, because the chances are they're going to have a much higher rating, and therefore coming up against people who are a lot more difficult. So if we have a look here at bear form, so we can actually change, wow, okay. I am very happy that this is an option right now, because I don't like the turtle look, you know, the spiky turtle that Zandalari trolls get. So the fact that I now have the option to choose the bear form with the blue glow, I am very happy with that. In terms of feral form, I'm also just interested to see what else I've got. So you get the Druid of the Flame look, which I did hear this was coming in, but I thought you'd have to have done something to unlock it, because previously you had to get a toy from Firelands, which was like a really low drop chance, and even then it didn't last permanently, I don't think. You had to like keep using the toy every now and again. So the fact that you can now have the Druid of the Flame cat form like as a permanent option is really nice. I'm very happy with that. And then of course we've got the Fangs look and the Incarnation, which I believe are just like hidden appearances for that's the feral spec. The different coloured reptiles look okay. Again, the sort of grey one is really bad, but ultimately I think it's got to be Druid of the Flame, right? That's got to be the one that we go for. Aquatic form isn't really a huge issue, but I'm just curious to see. So it just changes the colour when you do the aquatic form. Quite like that one though. That's a nice little look. And then finally, in terms of Orc, I am definitely going to get rid of the tattoos, because I didn't quite like having those on my character. In terms of his colour, let's have a little change, shall we? Let's have a little play around and, you know, see what we can come up with, something a bit different. So the one thing that I don't like about Zandalari trolls that I've noticed recently is I don't like the sort of patches on the faces. Just, I don't see why they're there, to be honest. In terms of the female Zandalari trolls, not a fan of them. Personally, it's just I don't like the way that the sort of hips down here are wider than the shoulders. I always prefer it to be the other way around, get that sort of like triangular shape going. Just looks better in terms of transmog, I tend to find. Tusks wise, so I'm going to make the tusks on my character a little bit smaller. So if we go with something like just the general tusked option, nothing spectacular. In terms of the hairstyle, let's have a look and see what options we've got there. I always find that the hairstyles for these guys are a little bit lacking, nothing spectacular standing out there. Let's go with Quiff, why not, just for something a little bit different. Classic troll, go with the red colour, because that was the colour it always used to be whenever I made a troll when I was a kid. Eye colour of blue, let's go with, I quite like that. So the trolls also have the option of like the one singled out eye. I think that's quite a good look actually for a troll. I think that works quite well. In terms of the hairstyle, actually not too keen on that one, I'll be honest. How does that look? Yeah, that looks okay. I think it looks more like a goblin than a troll probably, based on what we've done there, but ultimately I'll take that. And then finally, in terms of the piercings and the plugs, we can just take those off, get rid of them. Hair colour wise, do I stick with what I've got? I quite like the white actually, quite like the white hair colour. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go for something a little bit different. Let's change things up a little bit. So ultimately now we've got our new bear forms. So we've got this one here, which looks really nice. Very happy with that one. We've got our new cat form in terms of the fire druid. So this is really cool. A really welcome change. Very nice for them to put that in. Good job, Blizzard, on that one. Really good job. And then finally, with regards to transmog wise, so we were going to choose a staff just to go with our set here. Not sure which one to go with, so just temporarily let's choose something like that because it kind of works. So that is it for in terms of Druid and just doing a bit of PvP today, just to give an idea of what pre-patch brings. One final thing that I will just show is when you create a new character. So if we choose, let's see, what would be a fun character to play? So Death Knights, just so you're aware as well, because previously Death Knights would start at level 55 and Demon Hunters would start at level 100. No, sorry, start at level 98, I think. That's been changed now, so they do start higher than a normal new character, but it has been adjusted now, so they are no longer starting that high, because obviously those levels, 55 exists, but level 100 or level 98 does not, so that's no longer a thing. But if we start a new character, so let's say we were going to be an undead priest, why not? And we'll just call him Titan Heal because we can. So you get the option now to choose either Exile's Reach or Death Knell. So Death Knell, as we all know, is the original starting place for Undead. They've always started there, and Death Knell is probably one of my favourite starting zones. Or we have Exile's Reach. Now, Exile's Reach is the new starting zone that has been introduced for new players. So ultimately what they can do is go there, and the way that it works, we can do this on stream if people want to, but I don't think we need to. Ultimately, the way it works is that you go through, you do some quests, it teaches you pretty much all the things you'd need to know in terms of playing WoW. So it teaches you how to do quests basic, and it teaches you how to do quests as a group. It teaches you how to do kind of like a dungeon and then almost like a raid boss at the end as well. So it's really good at just introducing brand new players to the game. I think brand new players to the game have to do Exile's Reach. I could be wrong on that, but I think for the first character that they create, they have to do Exile's Reach. Obviously, we get the option because we've been playing the game for a long time now. And then ultimately, once you've done Exile's Reach, you will then go, I believe, into Battle for Azeroth. So they have to do their first characters leveling up to 50 in Battle for Azeroth, and then they'll move into Shadowlands. We will get the option to talk to Chromie, who will then allow us to choose a zone or an expansion to quest in from level 10 to level 50. I might create a new character, but I don't know yet, because ultimately it just depends on how long until Shadowlands comes out, because it's still not clear when that will actually happen. And ultimately, if it's going to be a long time, there's going to be no PvP season, so there's nothing really to push for other than practicing. And then, in terms of Mythic Plus, that's kind of a waste because the gear's not going to be worth it. So ultimately, it might be worthwhile doing a new character, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So in terms of the stream today, that's pretty much it. There's not really a great deal extra to show off because, like I said, the pre-patch has brought some changes. Good for people who haven't had access to pre-patch or beta. Not really anything spectacular for people like myself who have already tested these things out and had a little look at it. But for people who've watched today, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the stream, please, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. And, like I say, there is other content available on the stream. So if you did enjoy it and you want to watch more, then please have a look through my older videos.